Front door open. Lights off. Silence. Not the peaceful kind. The kind that feels staged, like the house is holding its breath. Let me ask you something. If you walked into your home right now and everything felt just slightly off, would you notice? Or would you brush it off? Because I almost did. Before we continue, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for updates. My name is Maya Wales. I'm a single mom. I work a normal job, keep a normal routine, and my entire world revolves around one person, my 6-year-old daughter, Lily. She hates being alone, won't even sleep without the hallway light on. So when I stepped inside that afternoon and didn't hear her running toward me like she always does, I knew something wasn't right. I called her name. Nothing. Tried again, louder this time. Still nothing. And that's when the quiet stopped feeling like quiet and started feeling like a warning. Now here's the part that messes with your head. My parents were home. I could hear movement somewhere deeper in the house, a chair shifting, a faint clink of porcelain, so this wasn't an empty house. It just felt like one. Why? I walked faster, heart picking up, mind racing through possibilities you don't even want to think about. Lily, I called again, already heading toward her room. And listen, kids are messy. You know that, toys everywhere. Clothes half folded, half thrown, that's normal. But when I pushed her door open, it wasn't messy. It was empty. Not cleaned, not organized. Empty. Bed stripped, shelves cleared, closet completely wiped out like she had never existed there in the first place. Who does that? Who removes a child from a home that carefully? And more importantly, why didn't anyone tell me? That's when something cold settled in my chest. This wasn't random. This was planned. And I wasn't supposed to find out like this. But what I saw next in the living room made it even worse, because they weren't panicking. They were waiting. Kids don't just disappear from their own house, unless someone lets them. So tell me, what would you do in that moment? Panic, scream, call the police? I didn't, not yet. Because the second I stepped into the living room, something didn't add up. My mom, Evelyn, was sitting on the couch like it was any normal afternoon. Back straight, tea in hand, no urgency, no confusion, just calm. Too calm. And my sister, Rachel, she was standing near the coffee table, holding a sealed cardboard box, both hands gripping it like it mattered. I slowed down. Because suddenly, this didn't feel like a disappearance. It felt like a setup. Where is Lily? I asked. My voice didn't even sound like mine. It was tight, controlled, like if I let go for even a second, everything would snap. Rachel didn't answer, wouldn't even look at me. But my mom did. She set her cup down, looked me directly in the eyes, no hesitation. We already decided. Decided what? You ever hear something so insane your brain just rejects it, like it can't even process the words? That was me. What are you talking about? I said, stepping closer. Where is my daughter? She's safe, my mom replied, like she was explaining something obvious. This is what's best for her. Best for her. Let me ask you, since when do grandparents get to decide what's best over a parent who's standing right there? I looked at Rachel again, that box in her hands. It had Lily's name written on it. Neatly, in black marker. Like it had been prepared. How long? I asked, quieter now. How long have you been planning this? Silence. That silence told me everything. Weeks, maybe longer. Then I saw it. Papers on the table, stacked, organized, official-looking. My name was on one of them. And that's when the narrative started shifting. You've been overwhelmed, Maya, my mom continued, her tone almost rehearsed. We've documented everything. The late hours, the instability. Lily needs consistency. Documented. So this wasn't just a family disagreement. This was something else. Something legal. Something deliberate. I felt it then, that shift. That moment where fear turns into something sharper, colder. "You think you can just take her from me?" I said. My mom didn't flinch. That's when I reached for my phone. Because if they thought I was alone in this, they were about to be very wrong. But the call I made, it wasn't to who they expected. And what happened next? It cracked everything wide open. They thought I had no power left. That was their first mistake. So let me ask you, when everything is stacked against you, when the people in front of you are calm, prepared, and already acting like they've won, who do you call? Not the police, not yet. Because something told me this was bigger than a missing child situation. This was controlled, calculated. I stepped outside, closed the door behind me, and for the first time since walking in, I let my hands shake. Then I made the call. "Daniel," I said the second he picked up. A pause. "Now here's what you need to understand. Daniel Reeves is Lily's father. And up until recently, he wasn't in the picture, not consistently, not reliably. But things had changed. Quietly. We'd been talking again, carefully, slowly, trying to figure out what co-parenting could look like without blowing everything up. My parents didn't know that. And that was about to become a problem for them. They took her," I said, straight to the point. Silence on the other end, but not confusion. Focus. "Who?" he asked. "My parents, they're saying they decided. There are papers, Daniel. I think they filed something." Another pause, shorter this time. Then he said something that made my stomach drop. "They can't do anything without both of us." Exactly. Both. Which meant one thing. "If there's paperwork," he continued, voice tightening, "then either I signed something I didn't or someone's lying. Or forging." And just like that, the entire situation shifted. This wasn't just manipulation anymore. This was illegal. "I'm coming," he said. "Don't let them stall you." The call ended. And when I walked back inside, everything felt different. Same room, same people. But now I knew something they didn't. My mom looked up immediately. She saw it, that change in my face. That calm. "You filed something, didn't you?" I said. No answer. Just a flicker, a tiny hesitation. That was enough. "You forged it." Rachel inhaled sharply. There it was. The crack. "You said he wasn't involved," Rachel blurted, looking at Mom now. "You said it wouldn't matter." "Rachel," my mom snapped. Too late. Because now we all knew. This plan, it wasn't airtight. It was rushed. And it was about to fall apart. "Where is she?" I asked again, stepping closer, slower this time. Rachel's grip on the box loosened. She's with Aunt Carol." She said quietly. "Just temporary. Mom said it was temporary." Temporary. Without telling me. Without my consent. Let me ask you, what kind of temporary decision removes a child completely, erases her room, and files paperwork behind her parents' back? Not a normal one. And definitely not a legal one. That's when my phone buzzed. I didn't even have to look. I knew. I answered, and without saying a word, I placed it on speaker. A voice filled the room. Calm, direct. "I'm 5 minutes away," Daniel said, "and I'm not coming alone." Silence. Then he added, "I brought someone who's going to make this very difficult for you to explain." And for the first time since I walked in, my mother didn't look in control anymore. But what happened when that doorbell rang? That's where everything finally broke. What do you do when the people who raised you are suddenly the ones you have to defend yourself against? That question was still hanging in the air when the doorbell rang. Not loud. Not aggressive. Just final. My mom didn't move at first. She just sat there, eyes locked on the phone still resting on the table, like she was trying to calculate her next move. But this wasn't one of her controlled conversations anymore. This was real. "I'll get it," I said. And I did. I opened the door, and there he was. Daniel. But he wasn't alone. Standing beside him was a sharply dressed woman holding a leather folder, and just behind them, a uniformed officer. Now pause for a second, because this is where everything shifts. Up until now, this looked like a family disagreement, right? Miscommunication, overstepping, maybe even manipulation. But the second legal eyes and law enforcement step in, it becomes something else entirely. "Evening," the officer said calmly as they stepped inside. And just like that, the house didn't feel like my parents' home anymore. It felt like a scene. Controlled, observed, exposed. My mom stood up this time, finally. "This is unnecessary," she said, trying to regain that calm tone. "We were handling this privately." The attorney, Daniel later introduced her as Laura Bennett, didn't even sit down. She just opened her folder. "I'd like to see the documents you filed," she said. Direct, no emotion. Rachel looked like she might cry. My mom hesitated. And there it was again, that tiny delay that tells you everything you need to know. Because if everything was legitimate, there'd be no hesitation. Slowly, she slid the papers across the table. Laura scanned them, quietly, carefully. Seconds passed. Too long. Then she looked up. "These signatures," she said, tapping the page, "don't match any official record from Mr. Reeves." Silence. Heavy, immediate. The officer stepped closer. "Ma'am," he said, not aggressive but firm, "can you explain that?" And just like that, the entire story my mom had been holding together started to collapse. This was for her safety," she said, but now her voice wasn't steady anymore. "Maya isn't, she's been unstable, we have records." "Records don't grant you custody," Laura cut in. "And they certainly don't justify falsifying legal documents." Falsifying. Not misunderstanding. Not confusion. A crime. Rachel broke. "I told you this was too fast," she said, tears finally spilling. "You said we had time." "Enough," my mom snapped, but it didn't land the same anymore. Because control was gone. "Where is the child?" the officer asked. Rachel answered this time. Clear, immediate. Aunt Carol's house. And just like that, we had the truth. Within the hour, Lily was on her way back. And when I finally saw her that night, she ran straight into me like nothing made sense, except that I was there. No dramatic speech. No big moment. Just relief. The kind that leaves you shaking after. Later, after everything settled, after the officer left and the silence returned, but a different kind this time, I stood in that same doorway where this all started. Front door open. But now, I understood something I didn't before. Not all threats come from outside. Some sit across from you, smile at you, say it's for the best. And if I hadn't walked in early that day, if I hadn't asked questions, if I hadn't made that call, I might have lost her without even realizing it was happening. So let me ask you, how well do you really know the people you trust with your life? If this story made you pause, even for a second, then you already understand. Because sometimes, the most dangerous decisions are the ones made for you.